leopards as a creature, they feel secure when they are surrounded by vegetation, places to hide, cover, that type of stuff. Hello everyone, welcome back to another spectacular day on Shamwari Private Game Reserve. My name is Andrew, it's great to have you here, and I'm out and about and on the hunt for one of my favorite and probably the most elusive animal that I generally work with and get to see, and that's a leopard. So stick around for a little bit and I'll show you where I'm going, what I'm doing, and hopefully we manage to find something. So a few years ago, during our lockdown period, when it was such a tough time, but there was still so much going on the reserve, the senior ecologist John O'Brien and I sat down and we had a chat, and we really looked at it as an opportunity to try and put a little bit of time and energy into some monitoring projects. And he asked me to give a hand with one of the most elusive animals you could possibly find, and that's the leopard, and that's what I started doing. So for about 2 years now, we've been doing quite an extensive monitoring process, really looking at tracks of leopards, whatever sightings we get, the movement of them, and really trying to look at territories and which animals are operating where, so we can get a really good understanding, a better understanding of what leopards are living on the reserve. Not only which individuals are around, but as well their habits in that, because obviously it's one thing to have a leopard in the bush, but it's a completely different thing to be able to see it. So really spending time with these leopards, and over the last 2 years, some of the stuff I've seen has been absolutely amazing, and really it undoubtedly is one of my favorite animals. I think one of the most challenging things about leopards in the Eastern Cape is just their shy nature. Leopards as a creature, they feel secure when they are surrounded by vegetation, places to hide, cover, that type of stuff. If you give the leopard a choice between being in a complete open environment without much cover or this, they're always going to come here. And we know that our cheetah are the absolute epiphany of an apex predator in an open, grassy savanna environment where they need speed to be able to reach absolute pace to be able to take down things like springbok and impala. We know that lions are also ambush predators, but they're far more suited to grassy, savanna, lightly wooded areas. But give leopard the chance and this is where they're going to come, and you can see just how dense it is, because they are such a fantastic ambush predator. They really are skilled at getting up close, moving with absolute stealth through the bush. They don't make a sound when they're busy hunting. As they are bringing their back foot up, it takes the place of where their front foot was, so that it doesn't leave any trace of a sound that a bushbuck or a duiker, whatever it is that it's busy hunting in this environment, even a kudu, won't even hear that. Absolute phenomenal hunters, and it's these type of bushy environments where I am now, this impenetrable bush where we so often find them. And it does also make it challenging, because I often say to the guides and guests, it's not how many times you go out and see a leopard, but it's how many times leopards see you. In this type of environment, you're often going to get seen before you see a leopard. So I often get asked how many leopard we have on the reserve. It's unfortunately not a question I can answer with absolute certainty, because if you look at the vastness of the reserve, couple that with the shy, elusive habits of leopard, and just how dense the bush is, it's not a question we can answer exactly. But leopards being apex predators, there's not that many of them. The higher up you go, up the pyramid or hierarchy within the bush, the less of a species there is. So something like a leopard with their elusive and solitary habits, there'll be a lot less of them, say for example than lions, which we know are pride animals. They thrive in numbers, where leopards thrive by themselves. So that's exactly what we're looking for there, guys. There's a really good example of a leopard track walking along this pathway. So we can see this is a beautiful example of a nice fresh leopard track. This is a youngster. This is a nice clear back footprint over there, and you can see typical cat track that we've got 1, 2, 3 indentations at the back, you know, the 3 bumps at the back, which would show us definitely a cat, and then nice neat little toe marks at the front there. This is quite a small track compared to what I'm normally finding in this area, and we've had a youngster that was born from a female, a resident female in this area, and that's the amazing thing with spending the time here, is I've actually started figuring out who is who, and this youngster is just over a year old. He's now independent, he's by himself, although he will meet up with his mother from time to time, but he's not a big dominant territorial male leopard yet. Those tracks are substantially bigger than this guy. These are nice, neat little tracks, still quite tiny. So, Murphy's Law, we had seen some decent tracks, and we thought we were on the right track and pretty close to where we thought the leopard was resting up, and me and the crew sitting chatting, cameras off, mics off, and he suddenly came out of his shady patch and down the river line and up a pathway, which hopefully Andrew got a tiny bit of. So he was under the road. We had tracks coming here, and it's been a super hot day, and there's a big culvert or a stormwater drain, and we had a suspicion that he was lying up during the heat of the day underneath the stormwater drain, and we've been sitting there for a couple of hours, and without warning he just came out and up 20 meters up the pathway there and then into the bushes over there, and I'm just trying to see if we get any movement, but just a fleeting glance, just a glimpse of him as he moved off, not scared, but just elusive and super secretive as they always are. So hopefully we're going to be able to get a second camera on there, but as he's moved out of this drainage line just along that little pathway, he's taken some shade underneath looks like a nice big milkwood tree over there, I think, and he's just lying down grabbing a little bit of shade there. So he wasn't, as he came out, he wasn't in too much of a rush, or he wasn't scared of us. He just happened to come out, and I mean, we had been sitting for the better part of 2-3 hours in that shade over there just waiting for some movement, and of course when he moves we're completely unprepared. And he's just sitting watching us. Well, it's getting to late afternoon, early evening, and he's standing up and just moved off into the bushes over there. So that was a really special sighting. Any time we get to spend with leopards is always a treat and always special. Probably the top of my list. We're going to leave this guy, give him a bit of space, and we're going to move off, and he's going to carry on doing what leopards do, and we're hopefully going to catch up with him again. We're hopefully going to catch up with you again, and we'll keep you up to date with any new exciting developments. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you soon.